Okay, so this is going to be taken from Hippolytus of Rome's Philosophumena, which is his refutation of all heresies. Hippolytus was an early bishop of Rome, coming from out of the 2nd and 3rd centuries AD, which means that as a church father, he was contemporaneous, or his flourishing, as they say, was contemporaneous with the rise of Christianity itself. So in this work, he's refuting, directly addressing a bunch of supposedly heretical beliefs, some of them being the beliefs of the Nacenes, one of the earliest Christian sects. The Nacenes recognized a lot of similarities between Jesus, the character of Jesus, or Christ, and some earlier figures. So even though the Nacenes themselves were Christians, they were followers of Christ, Hippolytus still refutes them as well. But in this particular passage, he's quoting Hippolytus, who was an early philosopher of astrology, or of astronomy, rather. A philosopher of astronomy, but not necessarily an astronomer. I suppose I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Okay, so I'm going to be starting off from about right here. So, for over, against the rising and setting of the two hemispheres, lies the head of Draco. And this is Hippolytus referencing the work of a man named Aratus, who published a work called Phenomena or some such, which is, again, it's like a philosophical work in reference to astrology. Okay, so this is all in reference to like early Gnostic Christianity astrotheology. So, for over against the rising and setting of the two hemispheres lies the head of Draco, so that he says nothing escapes him immediately, either of things in the west or of things in the east, but the beast knows all things at once. And there, over against the very head of Draco, is the form of a man made visible, by reason of the stars, which Aratus calls a wearied image. And like one in toil, but he names it the kneeler. Now Aratus says that he does not know what this toil is, and this marvel which turns in heaven, but the heretics, wishing to found their own tenets on the story of the stars, and giving their minds very carefully to these things, say that the kneeler is Adam, and Moses said, according to the decree of God, guarding the head of the dragon, and the dragon guarding his heel. For thus says Aratus, holding the sole of the right foot of winding Draco. But he says there are placed on either side of him, I mean the kneeler, Lyra and Corona, but that he bends the knee and stretches forth both hands, as if making confession of sin, and that the lyre is a musical instrument fashioned by the Logos in extreme infancy, but that Hermes is called among the Greeks Logos. And Aratus says about the fashioning of the lyre, which, while he was yet in his cradle, Hermes bored, and said it was to be called lyre. It is 7-stringed, and indicates by its 7 strings the entire harmony and constitution with which the cosmos is suitably provided. For in 6 days the earth came into being, and there was rest on the 7th. If then, he says, Adam making confession and guarding the head of the beast, according to God's decree, will imitate the lyre, that is, will follow the word of God, which is to obey the law, he will attain the crown lying beside it. But if he takes no heed, he will be carried downwards along with the beast below him, and will have his lot, he says, with the beast. But the kneeler seems to stretch forth his hands on either side, and here to grasp the lyre, and there the crown, and this is to make confession, as if to be seen from the very posture. But the crown is plotted against, and at the same time drawn away by another beast, Draco the Lest, who is the offspring of the one which is guarded by the foot of the kneeler. But another man stands, firmly grasping with both hands the serpent, and he draws him backwards from the crown, and does not permit the beast to forcibly seize it. Him Aratus calls serpent holder, because he restrains the rage of the serpent, striving to come at the crown. But he says, who is in the shape of man, forbids the beast to come at the crown, is Logos, who has mercy upon him who is plotted against by Draco, and his offspring at once. And these bears, he says, are 2 hebdomads, being made up of 7 stars each, and are images of the 2 creations. For the first creation, he says, is that according to Adam, in his labors, who is seen as the kneeler. But the second creation is that according to Christ, whereby we are born again. He is the serpent holder, fighting the beast, and preventing him from coming at the crown prepared for man.